My name is Mizuho, and the first speaker of this group. And our group will talk about gender issue in Ukraine and Japan. Here is today's table of contents. The first one is the gender gap in the household in Japan. The second one is the gender gap in the society in Japan. And the last one is the gender gap in Ukraine. Again, good morning. My name is Mizuho Terada. Today, I would like to explain the family discrimination between women and men in Japan. However, before I begin, I would like to ask a question. What is the name of the Ukrainian writer who received a master's degree at Tokyo University in Japan? Her name is Olga Homenko, and this essay will introduce the lifestyle of women in Ukraine. I was surprised to find that many women work at second job. For example, a woman who works as a doctor on weekdays will also work at a museum on the weekends, or a full-time mother who also is taking courses to complete her master's degrees. After reading that many women usually have a second source of income, one should expect that this is quite normal in Ukraine. I believe that Japan, similar to the Ukraine, should allow women to pursue a career in a field where merit and ability are more important than one's gender. In ancient Japan, the status of women compared to men was significantly lower than today. There is a famous saying, "Meshi furo neru," which represents the hierarchical structure of family at that time. This saying represents the meaning that a wife had to prepare and clear up her husband's meal, draw the bath, and spread upon. Furthermore, only women were forced to run house economics so that they could manage their household. Even today, women take on many burdens at home compared to men. Looking at the graph, it can be seen that there is a big difference between male versus female. 750 women answered the questions. Who had decision-making authority in Japan? The blue line shows the rate of individuals who believe the decision maker at home is male, while the pink line shows that of women. In all categories, women feel that they take an important position in the home. Many women still spend a great deal of time completing housework, which inevitably narrows down the number of available opportunities for them. Therefore, is this gender gap common in the world? The answer is no. Looking at the second graph, the rate of men's participation in household chores is shown. The blue line shows the percentage of men who complete housework, while the pink line shows the percentage of women compared to Japan and 5 other countries. It is clear how awful the current situation is. Japan can easily be shown as one of the lowest countries to provide equal treatment and opportunities to women. From statistics, 67% of women do not want to enhance their career. 43% of women think they could perform better if they were men, and 25% of women do not talk to others about their work or household problems. These concerns prevent women in Japan from promoting their own advancement in society. In order to do away with this gender gap, all people must think about this problem more seriously and take actions to expand women's possibilities in society. Thank you for listening my presentation. Let's move on to the next speaker.
Mr. Mizuho. Hello everyone, I'm Kanako Tominaga. Following Mizuho, I would like to talk about gender discrimination in Japanese society. Thank you. In particular, I will focus on discrimination against women. First, I would like to introduce some examples of occupations that are difficult for women to find in Japan. The first is a member of parliament. According to the Gender Equality Bureau of the Cabinet Office, as of 2050, the percentage of women in the Japanese parliament was only 9.5%. Japan was extremely low, 153rd out of 190 countries surveyed. Next is a doctor. Next is a doctor. Of the Japanese doctors, 20% are female doctors. This number is considerably lower than in other OECD countries and was the lowest line I find. The OECD is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. The last is a researcher. According to UNESCO, the percentage of female researchers in Japan is 14.4%. Portugal has 55.5%, Spain has 38.6%, and United Kingdom has 37.7%. So the percentage of Japan is low. Next page, please. And next, I will talk about wage inequality in Japan as of 2015. The regular salary of female workers was 92.2%, when that of male worker was 100%. Look at the figure. This is announced by the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare of Japan. You can see the difference between Japan and the other countries. Next page, please. Why is there a wage gap between women and men? One of the reasons is that women are more susceptible to life events such as marriage, childbirth, childcare, and parenting. Currently, in Japan, there is a childcare leave system for men, but very few men use it. And the other reason is a culture from ancient Japan. Next page, please. As Mizuho explained, there is a famous saying, meshi, furo, neru in Japan. Similarly, there is a deep-rooted idea in Japan that men work when men do housework. Next page. Because of that idea, women are often in a weaker position than men in society. The idea is gradually becoming old among young people, and the legal action is currently being discrimination is not completely eliminated. Thank you for listening. Change to the next speaker.
Good morning. My name is Mayuko Shibata. I would like to talk about the current state of gender discrimination in Ukraine. Next page, please. Thank you. Do you know what the 2020 Ukraine-Japan Gender Gap Index is? The Gender Gap Index for Ukraine in 2020, released by the World Economic Forum, is 59th out of 153 countries. Japan was 121. As you can see from this result, Ukraine has a smaller gender gap than Japan. However, while investigating the current situation of the gender gap in Ukraine, we have come to see the difference and similarities with Japan. Next page, please. In Ukraine, where a tradition of particularly remains, it has been often true that women's happiness is to serve their husband and to have children and protect their families. There is an idea that women should play a role in protecting their families and giving birth and raising children while their husbands go out to work. In Japan, it is not the idea to boarding to a husband is happy, but because there are many uncooperative men, it is happening that women are forced to protect their families and raise children. As I said earlier, Ukraine has a significantly higher gender gap index than Japan. However, the wage gap between men and women is more than 20% on average. A number of female bureaucrats and member of parliament is conspicuous in the political field. Most of 47 reforms implemented in Europe and Central Asia over the last decade were in the area of pensions. 9 countries, including Kazakhstan and Ukraine, are working to unify the age full pension for men and women. The regional overall score increased from 80.13 to 84.70. This was the highest regional average growth, excluding the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, which consisted developing countries. Next page, please. When I investigated a gender gap in Ukraine, I realized again that although there are 2 countries have improved little by little, the gender gap still exists and it is difficult to completely eliminate it. This photo was taken at the demo on International Women's Day on March 8, 2017. It seems that they are seeking improvements to the ongoing gender discrimination. As written on the placard, it can be seen that there has been gender discrimination since ancient times, as in Japan. Gender equality and gender are also the 5th issue of the 17 goals on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Next page, please. Thank you. The deadline for the achievement in this goal is 2030, but I hope that the gender gap will disappear as soon as possible. This is all for our presentation. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Do you have any questions or opinions? Also, if there is any differences or additions, please tell us about the current station and the gender gap in Ukraine. Thank you.